Hello everybody, welcome to Papel Podcast episode 37. Today we're going to do a catch-up video on all the info and news and topics that relate to Pangya Mobile and basically covering everything we know about it up until this point. Because I know a lot of you are wondering what's going on with Pangya Mobile, and there's not a lot of info out there, and I've had to really kind of search up and down every day for info on Pangya Mobile, but I've discovered quite a lot of new things, and it might give you a bit of insight on how the development's going and when it will come out. So let's get started. So the first thing we all want to know about Pangya Mobile is, when is it? We expected it to come out this year. It was originally going to come out in 2015 when it was first announced, but that didn't happen for whatever reason. Got delayed till 2016, and now we're in the second week of December in 2016, and it really doesn't look like it's going to come out, and that's really not a good thing at all. So we're kind of like, what's going on, and where is it, and you know, is there any word of it out there? And apparently there is. So I'll tell you guys what I found over the last maybe 6 months. So to quote NCSoft, back in September they actually said that Pangya Mobile will release before the end of 2016 in Korea and in the first half of 2017 in China. And we expected it to be true. We expected it to come out before the end of 2016 in Korea. They said this, you know, word by word. They promised this was going to happen, and it really doesn't look like it's going to happen. I mean, we've got 2 weeks left of December 2016, and I don't see it happening. There's been no new info on the game for about 3 or 4 months. We haven't got any new screenshots, there's no release date, there's nothing at all. So that's the only info we kind of have to base this off. However, I have been checking constantly financial reports that are a bit more obscure, a bit more harder to find out there, but they do exist. I literally look up the Korean words for Pangya Mobile on Google search and filter it for the 24 hours to 7 days a week to make sure, you know, if there's any new articles or any financial reports or anything. So I'm checking every day. And what I found recently, I think I found this on the 6th of December, so this was fairly recently. There was a financial report from Samsung and NCSoft which listed Pangya Mobile as releasing in December 2016 for some reason. And I find this really strange because this was recent, so it's apparently saying that it's going to come out in December, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't think it's going to come out in December. I hope it does though, and that would show that they kept their promise, even if it is really late. I just don't see it happening. And usually on financial reports, they don't lie about this stuff. If there's a release date that they can't, you know, make, and that's just their target, then they're gonna list it as that. And if they can't make it and they know they can't, they're gonna say to be announced, or you know, something like 2017 to be announced. But it says December, specifically releasing in December. So that was really strange. And yes, I did say it's by Samsung and NCSoft because apparently the companies have ties with each other. We know that Natrive about a year ago kind of joined NCSoft, and that's why their focus recently has been away from the PC and more towards the mobile platforms, hence why, you know, Pangya Korea closed down recently. So it's very strange. And also on a separate financial report from the 17th of December, which was even more recently, this was also from NCSoft, they had Pangya Mobile releasing in Japan listed, and that's a first for Japan, because I mean, we all expected Pangya Mobile to come out in Japan, but it's never been officially listed for Japan. And it said it's listed for Japan in the first quarter of 2017, listed alongside China, with America and Europe still listed as to be announced 2017. So from the sounds of things, it looks like Pangya Mobile will release in Korea, or apparently in December, but I really don't think it's going to be in December. it'll be released in China and Japan in the first quarter of 2017, which really isn't that far away. I mean, that's only about March, or that's not much of a wait. So if it makes that, then that's really good, and I think it will make that. I just don't think it will make the December release. And then America and Europe are listed for 2017, so that could come out maybe sometime in June, or it really depends how the translation is going. But I did also read a report about the development. It was an interview with one of the developers at NCSoft, and they were saying that right now the game is basically complete, but what they're struggling in is kind of localization, so translating text and all that. That's why they've had to delay it for so long, and that's why they might not reach 2016, and some other countries might not get it till a lot later because it's going to be a lot harder to translate. So that's understandable, but it's such a strange situation, considering that this was announced in 2014. It was to set release in 2015, now it's 2016, and it might get delayed to 2017. That's a 4-year delay. That's absolutely crazy. But I mean, there's only so much you can do. So basically, to sum up the release date, it's going to be 2017 for most of the world. Might make it in Korea in December 2016, but it's only 2 weeks away from that finishing, and I really don't see that happening. So moving on to game info. So from a leaked press app at G-Star 2014, we actually got our first look at Pangya Mobile's user interface. And I found this screenshot on Twitter, and this is what they were demoing on the booth, but we never saw this until recently. This actually got leaked, which is really cool. And as you can see, I'll put a picture up now, you can actually see a few different screenshots. You can see a menu with certain characters, you can see the menu with the map, which I'll talk about now, and also just some other menus and screenshots. But the menu with the map is most interesting for me because it appears to be a map with Pink Wind listed on it, and I find that really interesting since Pink Wind has never been seen thus far. All we've seen is 2 courses that resemble Blue Lagoon, Blue Water, and they kind of like meshed into 2, and then there's a Wind Hill / CPO Wind course. And those 2 courses have completely different names, so I don't know if Pink Wind's name's going to change or what's the case there, but at the least we know we'll have those 2 courses plus Pink Wind, whatever that will be named, whatever that'll look like. And I wonder how that's going to change, because I don't know if you guys already knew, but the whole story of Pangya Mobile is that it's set 10 years in the future. So Pangya Island is kind of inhabited by new people now. Things have progressed in the island, there's more villages everywhere. Blue Lagoon is kind of a bit older now, the lighthouses are kind of worn down and aged, and I wonder how this is going to tie into the characters, because the characters do look a bit different now. They might have aged a bit, maybe that's how they explain the kind of remodeled characters in a way, and it's going to be really interesting. I'm really excited for that, and I think it's a really cool story because it also has been 10 years in the real world since Pangya came out, so it only makes sense. But I wonder how they're going to tie that into the courses and how that's going to affect the gameplay mechanics. But anyway, I'm just wondering, if Pink Wind is listed, what other courses are we going to get? Will we get every single course? Will Mystic Ruins make it? Because Mystic Ruins is one of my favorite courses in Japan, and that would be really exciting to see a kind of updated version for the mobile platform. I have a feeling that we're only going to get a limited amount of courses though. I feel like it's going to be similar to Pangya Portable on the PSP, where, it didn't have some courses like Ice Cannon or Ice Spa. It only had some things like, Blue Lagoon, and it had Wind Hill and Deep Inferno, but it didn't have some of the more funner courses, which was a real shame. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we also know Pangya Mobile has been in its closed beta since at least September due to the screenshots we got in September, around that time. I think it was maybe August. If you can see over here, it actually has a billboard on the side that says CBT, which means closed beta test. It says closed beta test in Korean text below. So we know this game is basically finished. That's what closed beta means. It means that the core base of the game is completely finished. They're just waiting on, you know, checking how everything works, getting player feedback, you know, fixing some bugs here and there, and for the most part the game's finished, and that's a really good sign, and that means it will come out soon. It's just, will it come out this year or will it come out next year? And I think it will come out next year, which is kind of sad, but I mean, next year's only like 2 weeks away, so it's not too bad either. So the game will also feature many modes. We know that it will feature an online mode that's apparently going to be a tournament mode, so kind of similar to the PC game. I'm not too sure if you're going to be able to have versus matches in there, with like where you actually see the other player shoot, but we do know I'll have a tournament mode for online. There will be multiple approach modes this time. Each one will have its own theme. There's like a pirate one, and there's all these different types of one. There's also a battle mode where you verse a giant pirate dolphini with tomahawk shots. It's kind of crazy. And there's also, of course, a story mode with in-depth character developments, which would be really cool because the story modes of Pangya Wii and Pangya PSP have been my favorite modes in any Pangya game. I'm kind of sad that there's no story mode in the PC version because that was rumored for a long time. You know, I've even read articles with interviews with a lot of the developers from about like 2012, and they said that they would love it to implement a story mode and a battle mode, like a boss mode, into the PC version, but that never really came to fruition. But it seems like a lot of those ideas are kind of getting brought over to Pangya Mobile. You know, with the boss mode, you can verse Dolphini and stuff like that, so that could be really cool, and I'm really excited for that. And I'm certainly excited to hear a lot more about the Pangya characters' stories this time around, seeing as it is, you know, 10 years after the origin of Pangya, so that's going to be really, really interesting. So third up, there's been recent job listings by Retrieve actually, Retrieve and NCSoft. They've recently put up a new job listing looking for a background 3D modeler to make background models for the game. I find this really strange because if the game's supposedly ready for release in December, why would they hire new staff now? Makes me think that there might be a delay. It looks that way, but I'm not sure how much the delay is going to be. It might be a few months. Hopefully not too long though, because I really, really need this game soon. But yeah, it's listed as a background 3D modeler, you know, experience with texturing, rigging, animating, and using 3ds Max. Something we also learned is that, through this listing, we learned that they are developing this in Unity 5. And this is the first time a Pangya game's ever being developed in Unity, which is really, really exciting because Unity is a great engine. I've used it before. It's really powerful and really great for mobile platforms. It's also really good for upscaling, so maybe one day we might possibly see this as a PC release. Who knows? This could be the next Pangya game, you know, on PC, but I'm not holding out too much for that, but it's certainly a possibility. Other listings also show, you know, they were listed as late as April this year, so then nothing new, and it kind of makes sense. That's kind of when the development got brought back, because it was down for a little while apparently. But they were just things like programmers, UI designers, and network engineers and all that type of stuff, so nothing incredibly useful there. But I just thought that it's really strange that this listing popped up, and this was on the 13th of December. So I mean, but it's also a background model, so it's not like a huge listing, you know, it's not a huge job, so maybe there were like some things that they weren't exactly happy with, so they wanted to get like a bit more models in there. I'm not too sure, but we'll just have to wait and see what that turns out to be, but hopefully that doesn't insinuate a delay, but it looks like there might be a delay sometime soon. So I'll also quickly go over just the general summary of Pangya Mobile that I read a while ago, because a lot of you guys actually don't know a lot of the basic details of the game, because unless you research this stuff, it's kind of hard to find info out there that's accurate. Luckily I've compiled all this stuff in one Word document, so I'll definitely read it out to you guys. So the game summary is Pangya Mobile brings the classic massive multiplayer online golf game to the mobile scene, with a wide range of playable characters, new modes, and all new exciting Pangya art style. Pangya Mobile really is the ultimate mobile golf game. So obviously the story is set 10 years into the future, all the characters are slightly older, the courses have evolved, and Pangya Island is much more active and inhabited. You can now play as caddies, which is new if you're just coming from the PC version, but was also in the PSP version if you guys have ever played that. Returning caddies are Tired and Boo, Cartier, Lola, Tiki, and Kuma, just like in Pangya PSP. For the first time ever, you can also play as the character Murin, and Murin is a NPC from the online game who first appeared in Season 2. She was commonly seen in the Pangya world with her sister selling items and working at shops and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you guys have seen her, but I'll put a screenshot of what she usually looks like in the game's UI on the online version. So it's cool to see her as an actual playable character. It's always good to see new characters. Also interesting enough is that they introduced a new character, Chloe, back in 2014. Now since then we haven't seen her, so I'm not super confident that she'll be in the final game, but back then she existed, and basically she was originally from an online game made by Retrieve called Alicia, which recently closed down, and they put her in the game to kind of show respect to that player base, and they added to Pangya Mobile as a playable character, so that was kind of cool. So the two courses that exist right now that we know of is Blue Coast, which is basically Blue Lagoon / Blue Water, and Wind Farm, which is basically Wind Hill and Sepia Wind. They both have the same course layout, but some things look a bit different, some things are added, like in Wind Farm there's a all new like a train that goes by, and all of the trees and stuff have been cut down from the OBs and are now replaced with farms. So there's different things like that. Also in Pangya Mobile there's also a few different modes and minigames. So there's Pirate Battle, Bomb Battle, and Piranha Putt. In Pirate Battle you face a giant pirate Dolphini. The goal is to hit back the fire comets it shoots at you, but not much is known about that mode apart from that. Bomb Battle, there's an exciting minigame where your aim is to explode all the bombs on the field. You can only get a certain amount of tries, so aim wisely and try your best to beat the high scores. And Piranha Putt is where you must guide your comet to the hole safely while avoiding the dangerous piranhas on the green, which try to eat your ball. So you have to kind of aim carefully and beat your high scores. So there's different types of stuff like that. Also something new to Pangya Mobile, well new to Pangya in general, is a new wind system. So wind in Pangya Mobile works much differently than the online game. To find out your wind direction, you actually have to rub the screen, and by rubbing the screen, your character will kind of grass will flow, and you'll kind of see the direction of the wind by judging, how fast and what direction the grass is flying through the wind. So wind isn't actually an icon. You can't see the direction, you can't see the speed, and this is kind of to help avoid people calculating and just getting it in like that. So it's similar to natural mode, but a bit more difficult. And even things like the beam from the hole will actually show particles that kind of come out and will flow in the direction and speed of the wind. So you kind of have to judge it from a visual point of view rather than like something that you can purely calculate, which I think is a good addition, because I think calculating kind of takes away from the game a bit, but we'll just kind of see how that goes. So I mean, that's basically all we know about Pangya Mobile at this point. People are still wondering, when it's going to come out, and I myself have been checking stuff every day, and I've told you everything I know, so we're just kind of gonna have to wait and see with this one. But we do know it is absolutely coming out. It's not getting cancelled because Retrievesoft has listed it many times. It's finished development, it's just kind of in its final stages of getting completed, so they wouldn't just waste it by throwing it away right now. And we know multiple companies are working on localizations for other countries like China and Japan, so it will come. We just have to be patient, and I think the end game is it's going to come out in 2017. And it looks like it's going to be really fun. I will certainly pick it up and cover it as soon as it comes out in Korea. I'll post videos on the channel and kind of do a let's play of it if I can. I will definitely find a way. So you guys hopefully enjoyed this kind of summary of everything we know about Pangya Mobile. Tell me below if you're excited about Pangya Mobile, because I really think it could be the next leap in Pangya, the next hope in Pangya, because a lot of Pangya is kind of going downhill a bit lately, and I think this will be really good for it. It's kind of the thing that everybody's asked for. We've always asked for kind of, you know, remaking Pangya, starting from the ground up and kind of going at things again, and I think this will do the same to Pangya that a lot of other games have done to their things. So that's going to be really fun, and I'm really excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and happy holidays!